Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. We've got a great Domain Sherpa coming up today. We've got Drew, Braden, and Ammar on the show, and we start by talking a little bit about the GoDaddy and Dan.com deal, which was just recently announced. Then we play the domain game where the Sherpas guess the buy or sell price for SanLorenzo.com, Agentive.com, and Unmask.io. And then we've got the Namejet Gonna Jet segment, sponsored by Namejet. And we talk about some domains coming up for auction, such as curveball.com, remotesting.com, merge.net, and snoop.org. Remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at DomainSherpa.com and also watch some of our episodes on our YouTube channel, which can be found at ds.tv. We did have an issue recently with our podcast not syndicating properly. That's been fixed with Apple Podcasts. Now we're working on getting it fixed with the other platforms such as Stitcher, Spotify, and Google. So that will hopefully be sorted out soon. In the meantime, you can both watch and listen to the podcast at DomainSherpa.com. You can listen on Apple, and you can also go watch some of the episodes on the YouTube channel. Again, that's ds.tv. Now, with the Dan.com news that was announced, big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains with a special platform made for domain investors. And last but certainly not least, with NamesCon Global coming up in Austin, Texas at the end of August, we've got a promo code for our audience to save 20% on tickets. That code is M as in man, P as in Peter _ Domain Sherpa. Again, MP _ Domain Sherpa. And you can use that when you register at namescon.com or go to DomainSherpa.com, and you can find a link from the promo code to the registration at NamesCon. It's going to be a great time. You definitely don't want to miss that. So with all that, it's time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. So let's go. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jay On, and I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, where we get into the minds of successful domain investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. These are the experts. A little disclaimer, I am COVID positive at the moment and operating at probably half speed, so it might benefit y'all to turn your viewing to the 1.5 times speed in order to catch this in real time. But we're going to do our best. Plus, I got a great group with me, my squad, if you will, that will definitely help carry the weight as they always do. So there are 4 segments to the Domain Sherpa review. We've got the grand opening. That's where I'm going to intro the Sherpas, and we'll talk about what's going on with them and other related items, maybe get on some tangents and some things, try to keep it on task as we can. But we will, get into to some stuff. Then we'll do the domain game. That's where we'll hear about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses on the buy and sell price. We keep score and give out some swag to the winner. The third segment is Namejet Gonna Jet, sponsored by our friends at Namejet. We'll review a list of domains coming up for auction on Namejet, talk about what the Sherpas like and what they don't like. And last but certainly not least, we're going to close with the grand closing, where we'll discuss anything we haven't covered already, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market trends, current events, allowing our guests to talk about and promote anything they want that we haven't already covered. So with that, let's go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. Starting on my right, I got my boy Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. the Dirk Diggler of Digital Assets, a.k.a. Bob Lee Swagger, Drew the Dragon Steamboat. Every Rosner has its thorn. The Rickroll, never gonna give Drew up. And a.k.a. Drew got what I need. What up? Yo, I mean, how many AKAs can we do? You know what I mean? Wow. What's up, dude?
Yeah, it's all good in the hood, man. I'm out here, breathing normal and shit.
Oh, I know I'm struggling, but to everybody's information, just so y'all know, my oxygen levels are good. My my temperature is good.
Yeah, we were all feeling bad about him. They put on the oxygen meter, and it was like, oh man, what have you done? You done stubbed your toe?
Oh man, the level of the margin of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's not very. Yeah, the empathy margin is
yeah. I took tight. One of those tests and told me I don't have that.
The margin empathy is tight. Anyway,
that's one thing Drew was not born with.
Yeah.
I don't have a directional sense or empathy.
The doctor comes in. He's got no empathy. Oh no, doc! What are we gonna do? Anyway, all right, that's what's up. Well, let's keep it moving. Continuing to introduce the Sherpas. Down to the lower right, we got my boy Braden Pollock, aka Tony Stark, aka Benjamin Button, aka Eat Bray Love, aka Braden Statham, aka I woke up in the new Bugatti.com. What's happening, man? How you doing? You're not in the whip this time, man. You're back in the office. He's back to leather-bound books and rich mahogany. I like it, man. That's what's up.
I'm COVID-free this time.
Oh man, it's nice, dude.
I just gave it to you and Ammar, though.
I mean, we got
what
it.
happened.
We were literally able to get it.
It's a train.
Literally, yeah. So all good. So well, I'm glad you're feeling better, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. So keeping that moving, let's go ahead and talk to the distraction, aka the distraction, Ammar Kubba, aka King Kubba, aka Danny Ocean, aka the even greater Gatsby, aka Amarzan, aka Kubra Libre. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get it. What's up, man? So talk to us. Why you got the money printer going burr behind you, man? What's happening with that?
Inflation, bro. And
inflation.
And also, ironically,
it's not going out.
Right? It's all coming to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like shower me with the dollars. All right, cool,
Yeah,
man. You got the money printer
later, but there's definitely ain't a lot coming this way lately. But fortunately, I just had a sale yesterday, so that's good.
All right,
but,
congratulations.
But yeah, it's been slow. So we're gonna turn off that money printer.
Yeah, no, that's good because it's gonna make me dizzy. But yeah, well, I think
money printer go burr.
Money printer goes stop. And that's the problem, right?
And that's the problem, It was like, look, if you're gonna throw a party, you can't just stop the music.
It's otherwise,
we've been throwing with 144 straight consecutive monthly balance sheet increases for the Federal Reserve, the United States Federal Reserve. 144 consecutive monthly increases.
And then, cut them off now. Cut them off now.
June 1st comes.
He's rolling.
They're shrinking that balance sheet, baby. And when they shrink the balance sheet, they're shrinking your pocketbook. But as a free market loving libertarian, I would say, stopping the printing press is a good thing.
It had to happen.
But just brace for impact.
Yeah. Well, and that's
had to happen.
And I think this is a time of year where the domain space is usually somewhat quiet. Although we saw some big announcement today. We're not going to get too into it, but Dan.com, GoDaddy, it's a big deal. So, big shout out to our friends at both Dan.com and GoDaddy, but we're not going to get too far into the weeds on that today. We've got a lot of other stuff to cover, but just wanted to say big shout out to them. It's big news. It's exciting. So that's what's up. And but other than that,
didn't I just talk about GoDaddy acquiring Dan? Didn't I talk about where was that I spoke about that? It was just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Was it on the show?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Definitely people are like, no, I don't think so. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, hey, look, I mean, again, I think it's it's big news. It's exciting. I think it'd be interesting to see what the the implications and the impact is going to be. But without knowing a lot, I don't want to get into too much. And and Dan is a sponsor of our show, so big shout out to them. And but also big shout out to GoDaddy. I mean, this is a great acquisition for them. And so excited to see what Paul, Nix, and the rest of the team in the direction that goes. And
to me, there's only two. Let's say in the eyes of a domain investors, there's only two, let's say, downsides to that. I mean, maybe three, but it's like, one is we don't know what they're going to do with commissions. And Paul came out and said, look, it's early stages. We don't know what we're going to do yet. So, I could see a negative perception that probably and likely will be the outcome is that, they'll raise commissions up. That makes sense with that type of acquisition. So they'll bring commissions up from Dan.com to meet what Afternic is doing. But again, we're just speculating. Who knows? And then secondly is the one that I don't like is you can take Bitcoin payouts at Dan.com. But you can't do that. Well, actually, I'm speculating. I don't know, but I suspect GoDaddy will likely not continue with that. But who knows? Again, I don't know. And if they continue to run it as a separate entity, then that may continue for at least for some period of time. But I'm particularly curious to see what happens there with that payout option. And then I guess the third is just, speculating on whether or not they'll continue with the, innovation that Dan.com has.
Well, I can tell you what this does is opens up a door, because there always has to be somebody else, right? There always has to be another option.
Nature deplores a vacuum.
Right. And so that's kind of where Dan was born, right? Out of that vacuum. And now Dan is going to become part of, the overlord empire. And so now, you're going to have somebody else come up. And I can tell you, I continue to be approached by people wanting to do something in this space like another competitor. And I kept saying, well, I'm like, Dan is kind of filling that void already. Why do we need to go do something different? But now Dan's gone. And
Dan's gone, man.
Dan's gone, man. Dan's gone.
Hey, just for the record,
Tuesday's
Dan.com continues to be a
gone.
sponsor of this podcast. They're not gone. They are.
No. What I
here.
mean, clearly,
they've just been eaten by the 800-pound gorilla.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, they're no longer independent, and so there always needs to be an upstart challenger. There, in almost every industry, there has to be that kind of, that upstart, that hungry kind of thing.
Here's the conclusion, though. Are you going to go build that?
No, right, exactly. I mean, but that was my excuse.
I look around the room. Around the room at all the usual suspects that we all know and love, that we've all been doing business together for the last whatever number of years, and it's like, Frank was kind of the first one. Just said, well, actually, Birkins was probably the first one to just dip out. I'm done, right? And Frank, and there's not a lot of enthusiasm for let me go build another enterprise product, for the domain industry, unless it's somebody from the outside, which, you've got these guys, domain search or something. What they made an announcement. He was like a Facebook engineer, Instant Domains. I think it's Instant Domains. I think it's instant.ca or something. They said I had a call with them. They're doing something interesting, but they're not going to be competing on the secondary market. They're competing on, registrar level. I don't. Yeah, I agree.
But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to compete on the secondary without a registrar. It doesn't make sense to compete on the registrar without a secondary. At this point,
which is why I suspect GoDaddy bought Dan.com at this exact moment,
right?
Because I suspect that a registrar was sort of the next leg up for Dan.com,
right?
And with a registrar underneath the product that they have for the aftermarket, they would be really a strong force. And there was some really interesting stuff they could have done.
Yeah,
with that,
that's exactly right.
I think that GoDaddy is too big to innovate, and so they have to buy innovation.
Yeah, I think there's a certain.
But that's every industry, right? If you look around, nobody's doing R&D anymore. It's just let the market create winners and losers, and then the 800-pound, incumbent comes and buys the winners.
Yeah, but then what does the 800-pound incumbent do with that technology, right? Like
squash it.
Right. So then
or Reza will have like a 2-year earnout, and he'll keep running it and keep innovating for a while.
Right, but what I'm saying is, just like you saw with Uni, like it kind of, the whole Uni team moved on to GoDaddy, and now they're doing some good things at GoDaddy. But like I said, I just feel like whenever something like this happens, it does create a vacuum, and somebody will come up, and it won't be, like Drew said, it won't be anybody we expect. It'll be somebody else, and we'll see what happens.
Or, we got FD. FD might do something. I think it was a good opportunity for Duran to do something right now.
Yeah, shout out to Duran. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, so I said we weren't going to take a lot of time to talk about this. I just wanted to give a hat tip.
Yeah, but this is big news. This is like, I mean, first off, they're a sponsor. Second off,
I actually thought we might do it. We thought we might do a whole thing around it once, more information and insight came to light. But before that, I just wanted to mention
quarterbacks speculating about nothing they know about.
Well, that's what I mean. So it's like I'd rather.
Isn't that what
That's
the
how you
media is
built your
built
whole
on?
reputation.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
again,
that's
I think
like-
today's show is more about look. This happened. It just hit the wire literally this morning. We're recording here on Tuesday. The show's going to air on Thursday, so it's going to be pretty timely. But we didn't.
I
wanna
think
not-
Andrew Alleman jumped the gun on releasing his article because, I'm in Europe, so I'm like, 5 to 8 hours ahead of y'all, and I got the notification that the article had come out. Clicked on the link, and then it went to the link, and then it was like, the blog post had been removed, and then about 2 hours later, it showed up again. So there's
okay.
probably a press time, that he might have jumped.
Maybe.
Probably
shout out to,
not on purpose.
shout
but
out to
probably,
Andrew. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Shout out
everybody.
Andrew.
Shout out to everybody, man. Everybody involved doing anything and everything. That's how I roll. I'm just like, that's cool. Yeah. Well, and I saw the article. I thought that was, there wasn't a lot there. I mean, I think Paul just kind of broke down just some basics as to, what we all would have expected at this point. Yeah, I think, look, it's going to be a lot of wait and see. I think that, the acquisition of Uniregistry obviously is going to provide a little indication as to, what to expect. I think what we all know in dealing with big companies and acquisitions and integrations, I think, some of it will be, positive. Some of it maybe not so much for folks that would love to see the trajectory that Dan was on, continue unabated. But, that's such as life. Like, it's just not the way that it's going to go. So, and I think that at the end of the day, this is a smart move by GoDaddy, and I'm excited for them. And I'm really happy for the folks at Dan. They built something really special, and hopefully we'll see that continue. So, all right. Yeah. Now, let's keep it moving, though. And we're not going to talk about.
Well, one more thing I want to say. So, you said, like, in looking at the Uniregistry transaction and how that sort of subsequently went with GoDaddy. It's interesting. We I think it was actually Bill Gates who said it, but we overestimate what happens in a 2-year period, and we underestimate what happens in a 10-year period. And it's like, so subsequent to the GoDaddy acquisition of Uniregistry, myself included, everyone was kind of like, all right, and what's going on here, right? But it's interesting. I think in the last 2 months, it's really in the very short period of time, in the last 2 months, maybe 3, it seems like the cadence of development at GoDaddy is actually starting to really, ramp up. There's been a lot of new improvements, in their domain management software, in their Autonet software, in their, auction software. Things are starting to, there's a more steady cadence of updates happening, which is a very positive,
Yeah, no, and I think that's a great quote, and I think it's a great sort of tenet to live by, especially when you're investing and trying to evaluate some of these things. You're right. We do, sort of overestimate what's going to happen super quickly, and then is everyone's tendency. Their attention span is only so wide, and then everyone sort of loses track, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, all this has happened. I had stopped paying attention, So I think you get some of that as well. And look, and I think you can't discount the fact that Paul is in charge of the domains business now, and I think comes from a pretty good sense and space of sort of understanding how some of this works in the weeds, especially from a domain investment standpoint. I think that's to me, I think that's a positive, and maybe we're seeing some of the sort of fruit from that. But I think also too, it's like everybody, all the big companies, and knowing from being inside several, it's you're also always fighting sort of the tech roadmap based on, and having to compete, there's product and there's marketing and then there's legal and in some cases regulatory. So, there's so much that goes into the making of the sausage. And it's like interesting because it's like you're probably seeing the fruit of things that started 2+ years ago.
And that's what I'm saying is like, there's nothing, probably, people are going to get excited about this, and then absolutely nothing will change or happen, other than like terms of service over the course of the next 6 months, right? And then you might see some things, and then maybe there's an integration, and then maybe whatever. So likely we won't even see any of the outcomes for 12, 24 months.
I promise you, somebody's going to start building something today.
Oh, 100%.
As they should, I mean, I think for the space, and if there's enough meat on the bone, then people should be getting to work and trying to build things that can be helpful and useful and you know and help them by creating these tools. So no, I'm all about it, man. So all right, cool. Well, look, good talk, guys.
Well, what we do know is that nobody on this panel will be participating in that, in building anything.
No, we are going to be. We're heads down, just trying to maintain and work on the things that we've got going on. You know, we got enough irons in the fire as it is. So
Exactly.
good stuff. But all right. Well, look, we got the domain game, so let's kick off with that. We touched a little bit on just sort of the status of the economy and the space, and we talked the inflation talk. But we really covered that last time we talked, and a lot of what we covered a week ago, not much has changed there. I mean, it's still a lot of the same. We expect to see some pretty interesting headwinds, sideways activity, maybe some declines. There will be some winners in the mix of a lot of potential losers. So, you know, just always tell people to proceed with caution in times like this. But fortunes are made in the bear markets. You know what I mean? If you can just pick the winners, and you'll be all good. It's all good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just pick the winners and time the market perfectly, and you'll be absolutely fine. All right. So what we can do is, because we can't really help you with that beyond that, but what we can do is talk a little bit about what we've got going on and give you everybody some insight into some domain stuff. So let's start with the domain game. And Drew, domain game. It's on you, dog.
All right. All right. Familyhealth.com.
Is this a buy or a sell?
It's a buy.
Familyhealth.com.
You know what? I think I can't tell about the price.
Okay. Well, thanks, Andrew Miller.
Nah, hold up.
Every time Miller's like, "Oh, let me talk about this amazing domain, but I can't give you any details."
I know.
It's like, come on, man.
All right. Maximal.com. Oh, well, you guys already know that one. That was a drop dead.
We've all been on that.
All right. SanLorenzo.com. San Lorenzo.
SanLorenzo.com. All right.
SanLorenzo.com.
And this was a
Where is
purchase?
This was a purchase.
All right. Well,
Where's
actually,
San Lorenzo?
San Lorenzo.
Is that in
Yeah.
Spain or?
Sounds.
Listen, man, I can't give you any information. You're asking me to cheat. That's insider information.
San Lorenzo.
I can see Ammar Googling it right now.
I'm Googling.
Ammar, where is it?
Well, there's
it's
a lot of
fictional.
brands using San Lorenzo. Looks like Argentina.
It's an ancient city in Mexico. And it's
Well,
also
there's
a
also-
fictional,
All we need to hear from you is what did I pay?
it's
also
also
in
a fictional
Argentina.
country used in the television series Leverage.
It's also in Florence. There's a lot of them.
All right, a lot of San Lorenzo. All right, well, Braden,
Okay,
you are
well-
first based on where you are positioned on my screen.
I am?
And- No. It's Braden,
Oh,
then you,
okay.
then me, and then that's what's up. Braden?
$4,500.
So he bought San Lorenzo for $4,500, according to Braden. Okay.
I'm going to go with 7,500.
7,500. All right. So sanlorenzo.com. This is an interesting one because it's like, you know, it's geographic. I don't know what Drew paid, but, you know, Drew's obviously a savvy purchaser of domains, unless it's something that he's got like a specific reason for going like aggressive. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. Try not to play the game and just, you know, I think it's either, here's the thing, it's either lower than
You think it's either
Braden's bid.
higher or lower?
I was just going to say, it's either lower than Braden's bid or it's higher than Ammar's. I'm not going to throw myself in the middle of that shit. So it's just a question. So I'm actually going to go 3,500 because of the fact that I think it's like, it seems like there's a decent amount of use, but it's a little unclear as to where and what. And I just personally don't know, like, you know, so I'm saying 3,500. So I'm going to go less.
I got this one.
All right. So here we go. Drew?
$10,000.
You know, I almost went 8 G's, but man.
$10,211.
That's a good name.
I think
It's a
great
very
name.
good name.
Yeah.
And I bought it for several reasons. One is because there is a lot of just use. And so it's got tons of different, you know, outlets that it can go. Owning, you know, one of the saints can't be bad. San Lorenzo is Spanish for St. Lawrence.
Why? They're not
And-
coming back to buy their name.
Hell yeah, man. They never went away. So, but actually I'm building a farmhouse in a place called San Lorenzo, which is the Portuguese version of St. Lawrence. And so I thought it would actually be potentially, look, this is domainer disease. I'll probably absolutely never do anything with it. But, in the back of my mind, it was like, oh yeah, pay up for that because maybe you'll use that to like market your farmhouse or something. Which,
I did the same thing. I bought a name for the house we're building.
yeah.
So, for the exact same thing, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put videos on there. And
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Never
of
gonna
course.
do that.
Never gonna do any of it. But.
You started a blog that you don't even blog on.
Oh
Hey.
man, he's
Ooh.
hey, the
Oh,
I don't even know what to say there other
hot
than,
in here.
don't chase an unworthy dream, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Don't chase an unworthy dream. So listen
I'm
to
just
this, man.
saying, if
Moving
you got
on.
a blog that you don't actually contribute to, you are not going to start a website for your house.
Moving on.
That reminds me. There was another AKA that I used for
All
you
people
last
do
time.
agree. They come on this show, they shatter dreams.
We shatter our own dreams. What are you talking about?
I know, it's true. This is true, but we are living the dream. So, all right. So, Braden, what do you got, man? Buy or sell? So, Ammar gets the point. Congratulations, round 1 to Ammar. Nice job.
Okay. All right. I've got a sale.
All right. It's exciting.
Agentive.com.
Agent-
Agentive.
Agentive.com.
If you were watching the video, you should have seen Drew's face just now. You go,
I don't even know how to spit that.
Does
out
it
of
end
my
with a
mouth.
V or an E?
It's agent, IVE. Agentive.
Yeah, IVE. That's how I have it. Agentive. Okay, cool.
IVE.
All right.
Agentive. It means. Well, I won't say it.
It means of or involving an
It
agent.
doesn't mean anything. Stop it.
It is. It's involving an agent.
I
If something is using an agent,
agent.com.
it's agentive.
It means I
ahead.
can't afford agent.com, right?
Let's go.
Oh, it literally says that in the dictionary. I can't afford agent.com. Agentive.
Agentive.
It's not worthless. It's worth less.
Yo, there you go. Used it. Used his catchphrase. I forgot. I got to put that into the AKAs because I got to drop that when I introduce you.
That should be the motto of some like used car sales lot.
It's.
It's not worthless. It's worth less.
I love it though. I love that. That was like the best thing that came out of that episode. And I should mention that when I introduced Braden. So, all right, let's go. I'm adding that to my notes.
How are you going to say that? Braden Worthless Pollock?
No.
Braden, he's not worthless. He's worth less.
No, I'm not going to say it about him. I'm going to say that's his, it's his catchphrase, man. Don't worry about it. I'll work it in.
Maybe I should.
AKA worth less.
Maybe I should have a panel. I'll have a panel names called that. It's not
there
worthless.
you go.
Worth less.
Yeah, bring your
I
worst
like it.
domains and
I
we'll
like
see if
it.
we can figure out how they
I
might
like
have
it.
value.
You need like a 6-hour fucking time slot for that panel.
That's the
true.
joint that you would say, hey, give me your garbage domains, and you get like 6 responses that would all be like, names that probably aren't that bad. But you say, hey, give me your premium names, and then you get a pile of complete dog shit. You know what I mean? It's just the way it goes. All right, go ahead. Ammar.
I would actually pay to have put Rick Schwartz up in like a throne on the stage. give him like something to like hit people with. And it's like, you got to go up, you got to, put your hands behind your back. You got to kneel in front of Rick and tell him your domain name. And he's either going to tell you the value or he's going to hit you with the thing. I would
Cut your
pay.
head off.
Yeah, it's like,
hit you with the
"Wah!"
stick.
Like, homie, don't play that. I would pay so much money to see that session.
I just got an email from Rick this morning, actually. But anyway, so it's my turn.
Yes,
For-
it's your turn.
For
Agentive.
For I couldn't afford agent.com.
Agentive.com.
I'm gonna say
You sold this?
We sold it.
I told
I'm
you.
gonna say
Why did you
I'm gonna
own
say-
it?
I'm gonna say 12K.
12K. Ammar says $12,000. I am going to say $4,999. I believe this is one of those names that Braden picked up from the drop or from Namejet, like super cheap, got it not too far over minimum bid for like $100, and then had it listed on probably something like Afternic or Dan.com for, right in that like pick this buy it now price. And I think this one fits in that 4999. And I think after some period of time, let's call it 2 to 3 years, I think somebody stepped in and said, this is the name that I need. And that's what they paid. And that's how it went down. So I'm just that's where I'm at. I'm giving you the full scope of how I think it happened. All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm not going to be so complicated. I think it's, I mean, I want to say 15 grand, but I'm competitive. So I'm going to say 12,100.
Oh, come on.
He got you with the prices right,
That's
dog.
such bullshit, bro.
The good news is this, though, is if it's
Listen,
less
man,
than that,
I paid
or
for this microphone. All right.
he prices righted you, even after we
I
said.
thought we were playing it that
You just
way.
got Bob Barkered.
Yo, Drew technically plays by his own rules. He has no rules.
JT, you're the host. You can call him out on it.
It's all right. You know what? Well, look, it's like this. I think because right now, I
I noticed
Ammar
that
has a
recently
big-
he started
has a-
claiming he's the producer too. He goes, I'm the host and the producer.
I am the host and producer, man. I make the magic happen.
I'm the
here.
producer.
Dude. You show up and just talk your shit. That's what you do.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
But he who has the money has
You're the
producer
publisher.
title.
You're the publisher and the owner. You know what I'm saying?
Publisher. You're right. You're the producer. I'm the publisher. You're
I
right. You're
think we
right.
need to. I think we need to go through the contract on this show.
Seriously, I think we gotta we're gonna have a contract review and then some counseling.
You're
I
right. He's
think,
right.
you know what
He's
I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
Although he did say
Producer
I'm
has
right.
to do
Yo,
shit. That's right. Producer
All
has
right.
to do shit. Publisher doesn't have to do
yeah,
it.
Billy, dress this up with some fireworks and some other things. He just said I was right. Repeat that shit a couple of times.
You're
That's
right.
it, I
He's
think,
right.
you know
He's
what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right. You're
That's
right.
it, I
He's
think,
right.
you know
He's
what I'm
right. That's right.
That's
You're
it, I
right. He's
think,
right.
you know
He's
what I'm
right.
saying?
You're right.
That's it,
He's
I
right.
think,
You're right.
that's
You're
it,
right.
that's
You're
it,
right.
that's
You're
it,
right.
that's it. He just said I was right. Repeat that shit a couple of times and just dress it up and make that shit special.
Drew,
Put
you
it
could
as the
be
promo.
executive producer. Executive producers don't do shit.
They don't do
I've got
anything.
that
Okay.
before.
Executive producer. That's my title.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So the
Can I be
reason I'm gonna
co-executive producer?
But executive means you like have to execute. No.
No,
not in like
Bullshit.
film. For film, it's
No.
literally like
Yeah.
a title and name only for the most part.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
So the reason I'm gonna let it stand is because Ammar still has a good swath of like room below 12K, in between like the middle between where my 5K and his. So he's got like a pretty nice spot of
Yeah. All right,
possibility.
what's the answer, Braden?
I feel like you all lost this game.
Oh wow, he sold it big.
gonna be
I was gonna go
25K.
25. I was gonna say 24.99.
He went head.
So,
There's no way it's more than that.
So I think
So,
then I lost the
I think-
biggest.
JT definitely lost the biggest.
All right.
I bought this on auction at Drop Catch 4 months ago.
Okay.
I paid. You want to know what I sold it for? Or what I paid for?
Well, start with
I
what you
wanna know what
paid
you
for
paid
it. I want the
first.
story. Yeah.
I paid $5,000.
Oh, okay.
What?
So you paid what I thought you sold it for.
Yeah, which it just proves because I speak better English than you guys do.
Oh,
He
And I
speaks good
sold
English.
it
he speak
4 months
good.
later.
He talk good.
on a buy it now on the lander, 65,000.
Get the what?
What are you talking about?
man.
You're
On a
full of
bin?
it. You're lying.
In
What?
that was a pin on my uni lander.
Come
All
on.
right, hold on.
man.
Is this actually a word? Because I legitimately don't believe you that it's a word.
Well, not
Yeah,
only is it a
it's
word, it's
active what?
expensive. It's
Active what?
expensive. Heat. It's expensive.
Agentive, AGENTIVE, agentive.
Yeah. Oh, taking an active role, producing an effect, denoting
Yeah.
part of a word that expresses the doer of an action. So, this is
So that could be like my AKA.
agentive.
So it is a
Producing an
okay.
effect.
So for everybody's going.
All right, listen. I literally official. I'm gonna give you an official hat tip here. Ready?
Oh, look at this. You get a hat tip.
Oh.
That
You did
was
say I was
excellent.
right
That's a
a couple
super
minutes
super
ago.
good sale. And honestly, almost more impressive than the sale is that you paid that much to buy the name in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the thing is, it's obviously, a oneword.com, but it has a really, really, really good meaning, right? To take
Positive,
an active role,
positive. Yep.
super, super positive.
Yep.
And it has some use, not a shit ton of use because, it is a 50-cent word, not everybody uses, but it is a really good solid word. People do use it. Most of us don't. And that's why I was willing to take a flyer on it at $5,000, and clearly I priced it like for oneword.com, it's cheap, right? For $65,000. But I figured anybody that really wants to use that word or upgrade from something similar, they would pay the 65, and that's why I went with it. And I mean, a 4-month hold time, you just can't beat that.
Yep.
Now everybody's quiet going, agent, what the hell?
Yeah, no, hats off, man. You crushed that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I feel like somewhat vindicated because I guess the early part of the transaction just a step earlier. So I basically had the.
You shouldn't feel vindicated at all.
When
should
you bought
probably stick your head under the pillow and cry.
Every detail of what you said, every detail was very right. You're like,
yeah, you pretty much messed that one up pretty bad.
uncontested,
No.
minimum $100. You had it for years.
Right. All I did was this. I basically made it that the piece of
You
the
made
acquisition.
so you were maximally wrong.
Why are you talking right now?
Hold on. Because it's not just COVID brain fog, which I could blame it on. But what I'm saying is all I did was miss the next transaction where you bought it for 5,000 and sold it for 65. I had it where the initial piece was 5,000. That's what you bought it for.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It feels
you just got confused about the buy and the sell.
And the fact that you got to answer it correctly and give correct information that isn't totally off. All right, fine. Good job, everybody, including Braden. So, all right, so Drew gets the point. So that's cool. So, Ammar, what do you got by way of a domain here? You got a buy or a sell?
I got to sell, and we'll do a small one just to throw you guys off.
All right, so small.
Unmask.io.
Unmask.io. All right, so he says it's a small one.
This is a sale?
Yeah, he says it's a sale.
To a Republican?
So. What'd you say?
To a Republican.
We getting political up in this piece? So, all right, here we go.
It's Fauci's new site, new book, Unmask.
Unmask. So it's Unmask, not Unmasked.
Unmask. No, Unmask. UNMASK.
Okay, unmask.io. All right, I'm up. I would say $9,999 as a sale. I think that, knowing Ammar, he doesn't really sell too cheap. I think the name's okay. And that's where I'm at. So, I'm sure I'm wrong. But let's go, Drew. You're up.
I bet it's a cryptocurrency service for unmasking who's behind a certain address or something. I'm going to say $24,000.
All right, Drew with 24K. And then Braden.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the under.
He's taking the under.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
JT, what would you say, 10 grand or something?
Yeah, I said 99999.
Yeah, okay. 9,500.
95. That's all I'm not even mad. I wouldn't even be mad if you said 99998, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Do that there.
So all right.
I gave you guys the hint. It was at $49.90.
$49.90. All right, Braden with the win. So
the
$49.90.
Yeah, the answer to your question is it was bought by the person, at least what I think, that owns Unmask.com, which is like a people search service.
okay.
So it's interesting that they bought that more. I guess it was just purely defensive.
Yeah.
And that's
So
nothing
you
wrong
had
with
a
that.
bin? Did you have a bin on that?
Yeah, I just had it then.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing. So like a lot of these defensive things, like because we do quite a fair amount of defensive domain acquisitions for companies. They'll just give us a list, and then it's not short term. It's just like, look, over time we need to acquire these names, right? And most of that happens opportunistically when people list them with a buy it now price. And so it's like, all right, we got a certain budget. If it's listed in that budget, we're just going to come and grab it. And if it's not listed in that budget, we may or may not, be chasing you to get it or not.
Yeah.
But
right.
So, yeah,
and
I mean,
it was one that I picked up for $99. And like, most of the time when I'm pricing these, I'm the ones that are just kind of, average or whatever. I'm just picking round numbers, just going on gut. I just, put it for $49.90 or whatever. And I don't even think about it. Right. Like, So that's what it was.
Yeah, and I
And
mean, for what it's worth, that was what I believed. Not the amount, but I figured that it was a buy it now pricing. It was just which bucket. That's kind of how I, with you and Josh, and a lot of cases, it's like I know you guys do that with a chunk of your name, so it's just a question of
that. I think that one sold cheap.
I think so
that
too.
one sold cheap.
In retrospect, I think it sold cheap because of the crypto angle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
You should have sold it for $9,999, dog.
Even if we zoom out further than that, I just have I really like names that have multiple markets, multiple ways to be utilized, multiple industries, right? Just your propensity to sell it is going to be so much higher.
Right.
But I mean, look, at the end of the day, $99 to 5 G's is hard to
right.
hard
But
to
I
say
don't
it's
even
a bad sale.
Right, exactly. I totally agree that it was cheap, but at this point, I'm kind of like those kind of names to me are just inventory names. They are replaceable, and like I said, I don't unless it's these days.
You can't replace that name for $99 anymore.
No, but you can find. I'm pretty good when I'm actually looking. I've kind of just stopped digging.
They're out there. They're out there.
They're
I
out
mean,
there. And there's going to be even more coming up because people are freaking out.
Yeah. When do we get to do a show? Like, I want to do a show. How could we format? Like, I know this sounds predatory, but at the end of the day, we're going to be in a very illiquid environment. And I think that liquidity should be in whatever form should be, celebrated. I want to do a show where we do like Shark Tank for domain purchasing, come and get your liquidity, but I want it to be live. I want it to be like live and in
the room.
No, like a domain Sherpa, like
Oh,
this.
Okay,
yeah. We're maybe we have a
feed.
Yeah, like we have a feed of people that can post the names, and then we can, throw offers or not. They have to sign a waiver. We can, berate them and
let's do it. Let's do it at NamesCon. Hey, we can do it at NamesCon.
You have to sign a waiver allowing us to disparage you and berate you.
I actually really like this a lot, though. I think in general, having
I'm dead serious. I think that this would be
because
really good.
Even like you mentioned Rick before, and Rick does these kinds of things where it's like, give me your best whatever, and I'll buy the top whatever. I think we could do something like this, a show that would, and we can absolutely. I mean, we can, get whatever.
How would we
need.
funnel the names in live? How would we do that?
Well, I think
Twitter?
You could have someone appear, join the Zoom if they're, or figure out.
I don't want to do Twitter because if you do it on Twitter, then you have the wider public also having access to those names, and you're going to have people changing their mind. I want a private stream of names only available to people on the show.
Simultaneously. No, I know what you're saying, but I think you could do it simultaneously on Twitter Spaces, so it's not actually Twitter being posted.
We could also do it on, or we could do it on Twitch.
Clubhouse.
There's a couple of different ways to kind of.
Nobody's on Twitch.
Clubhouse.
Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, Twitter Spaces could be good. Yeah.
We host it simultaneously. We have us, the buyers, and the panel on Zoom where anybody can log in to watch, and then everybody else is on Twitter Spaces on a simultaneous broadcast.
Yeah, we can definitely. All right, Billy.
Let's do that.
Let's coordinate it. Let's make this. Do we want to do it in conjunction with NamesCon, or do we want to do it separate?
No, we're going to do it post NamesCon.
We could do it live at NamesCon.
Well, Drew won't be there.
I won't be there.
Oh, great. Perfect. We're definitely doing it at NamesCon.
All right. Hey, so
I want to do this. I want to do this September 15th.
All right. September 15th.
Whatever that week
is. I like it. Yep. All right, Billy, we'll make it. We'll make it happen.
Yeah,
we talked about it here. We're going to make it happen. Everybody's going to see this is how it all goes down. All right. Hey, look.
And we also want to wait until there's no liquidity in the market, which it'll be about then.
So here's the deal, though. The three of you are currently all tied with 1 point each for this game. So what I'd like to do is I want to throw out a domain. But I need you guys to like not Google, look, whatever. All right. I can pick one maybe more recently from Namejet to see if you guys have not been paying attention to it and see who gets closest to it. All right. Now let's say a name like Invisible Friends. Were you guys involved? We talked about that one on the show. Were you guys involved in that auction?
I was in the auction. I legitimately don't remember what it sold for, but I was
Brady?
in the auction. I got outbid.
But then he has an idea of what it went for. So
yeah, that one's a tough one then. All right, let me go through a few. I'm trying to pick names that we talked about on the show. That would be kind of cool to tie it together. That, you know, all right, let's see. Okay, do you remember we talked about ramekin.com? Were you guys involved in the auction on that one?
No, I don't remember it now.
Okay. All right.
I remember
Braden?
we talked about it.
I don't
Braden.
remember.
I had to
I don't
Google
remember
that.
Okay, yeah. So
It wasn't me.
ramekin.com. Nobody like hands up.
agentive.
Nobody.
That's an agentive.
Ramekin.com.
Yeah.
It's sold on Namejet.
Braden, hands up.
What did it sell for? All right, we're gonna go and Drew, then Braden, then Ammar, relatively quickly, and then the winner gets the win. So, Drew, what do you think?
Ramekin. I don't know. I'm gonna say it was like $3,500 or something.
All right, 3,500. Braden,
45.
45.
oh
Ammar.
my god, such a terrible fucking name, but
That's your grandmother.
but people are just bidding these shitty names up these days.
It's because we talked it up. That's the problem.
I'm gonna.
Oh wow,
I'm
I
gonna
can't
pull
even
a-
spell ramekin.
I'm gonna pull a Braden. I'm gonna go 4,600.
46. All right. The closest was Drew. It sold for 34.11.
No way.
Yeah. So
Whoa, dude! You know how long it's been since I won one of these?
I mean, you are suspiciously close, dog. But I will
No, but
say,
I swear, I swear.
it's all good. I'm
He
just.
was like
playing.
3407.
He's like, yeah, you
No.
know, fuck it. I don't even know this name. It's so crazy. Anyway, it's all
Listen,
good.
if I wanted to cheat, I could have said,
Congratulations.
yeah, visible friends. I don't know, you know.
Yeah,
But
fair.
ramekin, legit. I don't even know if I was in the auction. I don't even think I was in the auction.
No, so congratulations, Drew. Big win, big win. All right, Invisible Friends. Let's run through that one real quick, just because. What do you think that sold for? You were in the auction, so I don't know if.
I feel like my proxy, I think, was like $1,500.
Okay.
I got outbid. I don't remember, but my guess is it sold in the 2,500 range, 2,000 range.
All right. So let's call it 2,500. Braden, what do you think?
I was gonna say the same thing.
All right. Well, what do you pick a?
2,501.
I mean,
2,500.
All right. and
2,500 is pretty much, that's the cutoff of like, well, they're doing the math. It's going to cost this much for a UDRP, right? So
2,400.
Ammar says 2,400.
Oh.
It actually
man,
sold.
So you guys, sandwiched me.
Yeah, you did. That's
You're welcome.
Except that you Bob Barkered him earlier, so I'm going to allow it. Mutual Bob Barkering and consented to Bob Barkering.
Amongst friends.
And Invisible Friends actually sold for $75.16.
Oh,
Sold for
damn.
$75.16 on Namejet. So
Jesus.
there is
Again, we were all wrong.
there's an NFT project called Invisible Friends. I actually think it's a pretty cool kind of name. I don't know how what
I
you
wonder
use it
if
for.
they bought it, because you got to really have some balls to buy that for $7,500.
Yeah, except it got bid up to that.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of other people that are willing to spend in that range,
Yeah,
or at least one other person.
Yeah, and it's some usual suspects in the space.
Yeah, the guy that does the customer verification at the auction marketplace and understood who the buyer was.
So yeah. Hey man, I don't know about any of that.
You know
All I
what?
know is that sold pretty high. But all right, well, good stuff. A lot of good stuff here today in the domain game. So real quick, we're gonna jump to a commercial, and then we come back. We're gonna slide into Namejet and a jet here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Wait, what are you saying, Drew? Before we go?
No, all good.
All right, we'll see everybody when we get back here in a second on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains.
Media Options is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, Media Options offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. Media Options believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. We just got done with the domain game. Congratulations to Drew for winning what was a contested battle, currently under under protest. But Ramekin.com, what's up? All right, we got a big old list here at Namejet coming up for auction. So big shout out to our friends at Namejet. So we've got about 18, 17 names on the list. So the deal is you can talk about 5 or 6 before you got to pass the mic. We started with you, Drew, in the domain game. So let's go ahead, Braden. You are first with the list. What do you like? What don't you like? What names stand out? What names do you think folks maybe would be best to avoid?
I like curveball because I like names like that. Best cleaning is a great keyword. Merge.net because I like those single word .nets. And then Workdesk. I mean, I don't want to talk about all of them.
Yeah. So let's dig in a little bit. So you mentioned curveball. Curveball is also my favorite. It also has the highest Esteban number. Oh, to everybody, I always got to run through this at the beginning of the session. We've got the list of domains. You can check it out on DomainSherpa. Go to the actual blog post page. You can download the list. It's got the Esteban appraisal, which Esteban appraisals are what they are, but it's just another data point. Number of back orders as of the time that we record the show. Number of days left until the end of the back order period. As of the date the show airs. So, these are all expiring domains in Namejet, which means they're all going to be private auctions. So in order to participate in these auctions, you've got to have a back order in before the end of the back order period. So, for some of these, you've got 2, 3, 4 days before. Actually, none of them have 2 or 3 days. They're all 4 days or more. But a couple of days, get your back orders in if you want to be able to participate in these auctions. So, so curveball, I'm a big fan. I think it's interesting. It's like, I just think it's, such a ubiquitous term. It's cool. But what do you use it for? A startup?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a
great newsletter name.
It's a term that people know. I don't agree with the appraisal. I don't think it's a $98,000 name.
Sure.
But it's used a lot, right? So they're basing it on God knows what.
But it has somewhat of a negative connotation too. I love it. It's also my favorite name, but it does have a little bit of a negative connotation. It's like something that came out of nowhere. It's like you threw me for a loop. It's kind of like blindsided, kind of, right? You threw me a curveball.
I see it for finance being like a really interesting name for like a financial newsletter or contrarian newsletter.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
But how much do newsletter names sell for?
It's got a lot of
newsletters
searches.
are, on the come up. I don't know. I think, some of these newsletters make a lot of money.
But I'm just saying it has a cap, right? Like it has a ceiling.
Yeah.
But, the CPC is terrible, right? It's got a 10-cent CPC. So nobody's bidding on this.
Because what are you buying off? How are you monetizing it,
it's a
right?
brand. It's a pure brand.
Yeah.
It's definitely a brand. But if you look at something like remote testing, it's got a $3.82 CPC because that's a real thing, right? Yep. Or autoprices.com, $3.50 CPC.
I think you've mentioned more than. I think you're almost over your limit, dog. So
I'm not talking about the name.
CPC. You know what I'm saying? Let's just hey man. And all this information is available on the spreadsheet that you can download from the podcast page on DomainSherpa. So, which was my point before. So use this as a tool to help yourselves gather some quick info. All right. So, merge.net, what's merge.net? What do you do with that? You mentioned
merge
that one
is
as
just
well.
a really good term, single syllable,
sure.
5-letter term. It's, if this is a .com,
sure.
merge.com would be worth, that's a 7-figure name. So you take the .net discount. It's not worthless.
It's not worthless. It's just worth less, baby.
It's worth less.
Yeah.
So,
Braden,
get-
you don't want to start branding yourself that way, bro.
He's not branding guys, he's not branding himself that. It's just that's his
we're
thing. It's like we all got
He
it's just
kind
like
of
I say
is.
domains are all snowflakes because they're so unique. You know what I'm saying? Those are like cool catchphrases, man, that we use as part of our day to day.
Yo,
You know?
snowflake's got a negative connotation now, though.
That's what I mean. So to
Right.
saying it's worth less. You know what I'm saying? You guys are hitting them like I'm saying it's a similar thing. Nobody wants to be known as a snowflake.
You're calling Braden a worthless snowflake?
I'm saying domains are like fingerprints, man. They're unique. You
Is
know
that
what I
what
mean?
you just said? You just
Right.
called Braden a worthless snowflake?
Hey,
No,
you know,
he said he's not worth less. He's worth
worth
less.
less.
Oh.
You know, I don't know what we're talking about now other than merge.com would be extremely valuable. Merge.net has value. I agree with you. I mean, it's a fantastic one word, right? And I know that, you're a .net buyer and seller. So, yeah. And then what were some of the others that you mentioned before you went through every name on the list? You mentioned,
I remember being at an auction.
Best Cleaning,
This is
I think,
like
did you say?
10, 12 years ago. We're at an auction and Ammar sitting up in the front row, and he bought it was phone.net, and it was what else did you buy in that auction? It was phone.net. You bought a couple of real banger.nets. But I just remember being like, ooh.
was that ooh in a good way or a bad way?
No, he's like, ooh, that
was
guy's
like
about to get fucked.
It's just like, wow, you're gonna see that it's gonna be a while till you see that capital again.
Well, hey, you gotta spend money to make money, right? Scared money.
Did
don't
you ever
make
sell
money.
phone.net?
No, I had I don't remember, but you know which one? The most I ever spent for a .net, I did sell, and it sold for more in a wholesale auction. I bought invest.net and it sold for more.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
nice.
Great.
Yeah. So, but that's one of the the best .nets, and I've always said this. Like Braden and I talk about this all the time. I have some great .nets as well, not as good as him, but I stopped buying them for the most part unless they're dirt cheap because I can't sell them.
Yeah.
I just don't get.
It's hard.
Yeah, I just don't get the interest.
What she said.
I have autos.net, which gets so much traffic, and but it just doesn't get a lot of interest.
I had this. I mean, well, I think part of it too is the wave of crypto and NFTs and Web3 domains and everything we've seen over the last couple of years. With the major digital push, I feel like .net is one of those extensions that just it just has not really resonated with people. I think people
Right.
They're even the .ios, the .xyzs, like some of these other extensions have just
do
really
better in Europe and in on some of the other continents.
Yeah, in the places where they don't pay a lot of
.nets.
money for domains.
Yeah, right. But they don't mind the .nets.
No,
Yeah.
agreed. But yeah,
but you can get them cheap.
that's it. So all right.
The thing, I mean, I don't sell them off. I buy them more than I sell them. That's for sure. But the thing is that if you've got a non-Web3 company, because Web3, they're looking at IO and tech companies, IO and XYZ.
XYZ.
But if you've got kind of a legacy industry and they're looking for a particular keyword and they can't get the .com because either it's not available or they're priced out, .net, .org, some of these legacy extensions, it works for them.
Mhm.
And that's who I sell to. They're kind of like non-tech companies. They're like, we could get gravity.net as opposed to, because we couldn't afford a gravity.com. So great.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point, and that's interesting.
Or agentive.
Or agentive. If you can't get agentive, you can't get agent, you get agentive. Hey man, that was an amazing sale though. Good for you. So all right. So Ammar, what do you like on the list? You mentioned curveball. What else?
Yeah, so curveballs is probably my favorite. But along the same lines, I'll be bidding on Sure Thing, which I like. And bless you.
Thank you.
Sure Thing I like a lot. Remote testing, even though it's a boring name, I think it's a great name. So I'll be bidding on that. There's some really good names on here. Easy Connect, great brand.
Well, before you move on from remote testing, you say it's a boring name. It literally has the highest CPC out of the whole list.
Well, when I say boring, those kind of names.
Second highest, actually. Workdesk actually has the highest CPC.
Oh, you're right. My bad. You're right.
And
right.
but agreed. I think but this is interesting because I think those names, Workdesk, remote testing, these names are, you look at these and think like, all right, not sexy, but they are from a value standpoint. They're
And because it may not be a good brand, like remote testing is not necessarily a great brand,
Yep.
but people are looking for remote testing. And so that's what
Yep.
they're searching for. And so that's why the bids are so high. Same with work desk. They're looking for a work desk.
Yep.
Right. No, I like it. Another one on here that might go under the radar, Handworks, which is kind of a cool kind of craft maybe site or, handmade kind of thing.
Yeah.
I could see that. And that's probably the ones. Those are the ones I like. I definitely like Sure Thing.
Is there anything that you think that you don't like, that you think is a name that on here that people might be excited about that will probably sell for more than it should or more than you're willing to spend for it?
I mean, maybe Snoop.org I don't like.
Oh, all right. Well, wait, hey, we got Drew. Let's
no.
talk
I love, no, hold on. Let me say, I love Snoop. But I mean, Snoop.org, what are you going to do with it? So Snoop could be a private eye, right? But it's got a negative kind of connotation a little bit in that meaning. Right, but I could see it being used for a like I have sleuth.org, and I think I do at least, and that's not gotten a lot of interest. But Snoop.org could be a fan site. Maybe Snoop would want it. I don't know. But
all right, well, look, we're coming off of NFT NYC and Ape Fest, where the motherfucking Snoop Doggy Dog showed up, dropped his new video, did a performance. You know what I'm saying? He was like, he was very visible. Dr. Bombay, you know what I mean, was like with his board tacos, and, got busy and brought Eminem out with him. So Drew,
I think he invested or he's somehow business partners now with that Bored and Hungry fast food joint too.
Yeah, well, you know what? They're all, I think there's a Food Fighters and NFT is like the umbrella over a bunch of those, like the Bored and Hungry, the Bored Tacos, the Dr. Bombay, like food related stuff. So that's all part of this like collective now of like.
That was gangster. That was a nice little roll up. Whoever came up with that, like, yo, we're gonna roll up a little bit of little taco, little burger, little smash burger.
Oh, I know. And
I'll
tell you,
we're gonna put a little ape on that shit and have a nice day.
Yeah,
that was a nice little brand roll up. They'll do well with that.
And I think Food Fighters is a cool name. And and I did not try the Bored and Hungry from the food truck because it was just I didn't have a chance.
People said it was really good.
Oh, I heard it's amazing. Some people compare it to In-N-Out, and they really, really like it a lot. It's in LA, so I know, Ammar, you're going to be there, and obviously Braden. You guys should make a road trip there, and Braden can just watch. They have an Impossible Burger, so Braden
this
can
guy, he's got fucking COVID. He still doesn't shut up. Listen, so
hey, this is what it takes for me to get my words in with this guy. You know what I'm saying? The executive publisher producer. You know what I'm saying?
Publisher producer. That's me. Publisher producer. Braden, Bored and Hungry also apparently has a phenomenal vegan burger, veggie burger.
So big shout out to Bored. Big shout out to Bored and Hungry. But they had their food trucks there at Pier 17 in the city, and I feel like we missed out. I didn't get a chance to because the one day we were going to run in there, I was going to grab something to eat on the way into the event, but the line for the truck was huge. So I was like, well, I'm not going to wait in line. I'd rather just get in there and go get my drink on, see what else is good.
Get my drink on.
We'll do an NFT. We'll talk NFT NYC and Ape Fest and all that on our Ape In radio show coming up later this week. So everybody tune into that if you want to hear more about what's going on there. But
why? I'm not going to be here.
Yeah, I know, man. There's just
I'll be chilling in the Aegean. You guys going to do it without more money?
I know it's tough, man, but we got to do it. We haven't done it in a minute. So maybe we'll bring somebody else on as Mo Money. That'll be some interesting shit. Like somebody, just a whole different person.
It'll be the least watched show ever.
Oh, look at you, man. This is why, we keep running into these contract problem talks with your agent about re-upping Mo Money's motherfucking contract. Because he just, he thinks he's bigger than the whole thing.
Listen, more money's more money.
More money, more money. All right. Well, so what else though? So Snoop.org, Drew, what do you think, man? What's up?
All right. Snoop.org, like, again, Ammar straight up, like, he's right. What are you gonna do with it? I mean, it's a great word, it's a great name. Everybody knows Snoop, right? But it's like Snoop's not buying that. You know what I mean? Like,
does somebody buy it and give it to him?
You're gonna see the
Does somebody
Snoop
do that whole
Foundation
deal?
anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? The Snoop Foundation is not coming to a theater near you. And so, what are you gonna do with Snoop.org? That's just dead money.
It could be a
You know what I
foundation.
mean?
Him and
It's a
Martha
good kind.
Stewart
Look,
going
if you
together
buy
on it.
that, so that you can tell people at a cocktail party like, yo, I own Snoop.org.
Truth. Don't you own
you know,
SnoopDogg.com?
Send me an email to gin and juice at snoop.org. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, look, I've done that many times. I bought a domain just to be able to tell people at a cocktail party, and you know what? I don't even regret it. But if we're talking commercially, snoop.org, it's not going to get you there.
All right. So, for the audience, don't overstep there, guys. Don't think, don't let your eyes get bigger than your stomach, even if you're bored and hungry. You feel me? All right, cool. I like that.
You can
That's
find
good
them on
advice.
Instagram, by the way. So
they're in Long Beach, Braden. Braden's never been to Long Beach. He's afraid.
No, you guys can go together. You be his bodyguard.
Look, I just on Sunday, just 2 days ago, I drove past the Orange Curtain to see Camilla was in town. Camilla and Tessa. And
right, but the Orange Curtain is not Long Beach, bro. The Orange Curtain is nice and safe.
I'm saying I went even further. I went way out.
Right, he was afraid to get off.
He almost went to Anaheim, dog. He almost went to Anaheim, bro. You know what I'm saying? That might be even more even worse. You know what I mean?
I wasn't willing to stop in Strong Beach.
Strong Beach. Let's go. All right, Drew. What else you got, man? What else? So Snoop, you think is just okay?
I don't know. We covered it all. I mean, I like Thurman.com. You can do your diligence on trademarks and whatnot, but I just like those good old world, last names. They just make strong brands. Somebody will build a tool company or a tire company or a paint company or,
Yep.
It's just
like
Thurman.com. It's a nice, that'll be a good brand someday.
Speaking of names, what about Damon.com? Like Damon John, aka
spelling.
Shark Tank? No, it's not.
Did you spell it that way?
He spelled it that way. Damon John
does.
That's how Damon John, from Sean John.
With
not
the
Sean
D
John.
on the end?
I meant Fubu actually was right. Wasn't that his initial?
Fubu.
Like he did Fubu.
Yeah, Fubu.
And then Shark Tank and all
Want
that
to hear
good
a funny
stuff.
story?
Sure.
I actually can't verify 100% whether or not Damon John was the one, or not. But I was in college. I think it was sophomore year, junior year, and it was spring break, and I was with my friend Dave Hershey, and he flew us down to Miami. We were there for spring break, and Dave's like, Dave had a lot of money, and he was like, I got a table at whatever the hot club was at that time. And even the Rough Riders was playing live on stage. We were front row, and there was all this space in front of the tables. And so, anyways, we had we literally had probably like the best or second best table in the house. And then next to us was big crew of black dudes and these girls, and dude literally had a pile of weed on his table, like a pile. And I was like, oh yeah, and so anyways, the music's coming on, and these girls, dancing, one of the girls is with them, and we're all feeling good and wilding out. We got our own little private dance floor in front of the tables. So I'm out there, I'm getting my groove on, and homegirls like kind of up, close to me. So I just doing my thing. And then one of these dudes gets up off the table, and he was literally like 6'5", 350. And he literally just came up, cool as a cucumber, got in my face. And he was like, what do you think you're doing here with my girl? And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking die. And and I was like, yo, I don't know, man. I was just dancing. I don't mean any disrespect. We were just dancing. And he like looks over at his boy. He looks back at me, and he's like just shaking his head. And I literally was like, I'm going to die. I literally was like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do right now. I'm going to literally get killed by this dude. And then, and he also, he just like, he does like, he breaks down laughing his ass off. And he's like, slaps me on the back, and he's like, we share around here. And then we started talking to these dudes. And it was the founders of Fubu. So it had to have been David John, but like, I didn't even know who he was at that time. That was 90 something. And so,
right. Well, that's a good story.
Well, Damon John's not, it definitely wasn't Damon John, because he's not a big guy. So
No, but he
Oh,
might have
yeah,
been.
yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
might have been at the table, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
yeah. There was
so
like 4 or 5 dudes and a bunch of girls and
yeah.
living their best lives. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
Hell
I was
yeah.
waiting to see where that story was going to go, and Braden was like, "At what point do I send the email to say please take me off the show?" And I'm good on this. From
No,
waiting to
sorry,
see
I was napping through that story.
but no, it was good. It was good.
No,
It
it was
wasn't
a
too
good
bad.
story. I mean,
No, that was good, man. We share around here. So Damon.com, like, is it the kind of thing where you grab the name and try to sell it or give it to someone like that? I mean, it doesn't have enough name recognition to, for there to be trademark rights into the first name by itself, right? And when
Right,
you were
he's
saying
not
that
the
it's a
only Damon in
misspelling,
the
were you
world.
thinking Draymond, like Draymond Green from the Warriors, or like what was your, or when you were initially thinking about it, were you thinking about it with regards to him?
When I first saw that name, that's what I was, I did a double take to see if it was Draymond, but it was Damon.
Yep.
And then, and now looking at it, Damon John uses DamonJohn.com.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I mean, he might want it because that's his name, but his brand is Damon John.
Yeah, no, and I would agree. But I do think if you can get that as well, it's like you might as well lock it down. It's just going to be a question of what does it sell for. So, but for $5,000, 6, 7, 10 grand, I mean, if your brand is that big and you're that much of a, boss, like, you grab that. But I think it's, any of us getting an opportunity to get our first name.com, obviously, we would jump on that. So, all right, cool. So Drew, I think we've covered the list, right? You got anything else? So then let's, so I think that's it for now. Everybody, definitely make sure you all grab the list and check those names that are coming up on Namejet. Like I said, some of them only have a couple of days till the end of the backorder period. So
here, fun fact. I'm connected to him on LinkedIn. So I can intro you, Drew, and you can tell him, like, bro, we share around here.
Yeah, we share around here. You can get the domain and then give it to him and be like, now we're even. I'm connected with him on LinkedIn as well. And, so big shout out to Damon. And, it's a small world for real. So, all right, well, I think
I'm putting a $25,000 proxy on
That's it. Let's go. Let's make it happen, man. But yeah, so that's it. So I'm trying to think of what else we would need to cover. A couple of quick things. Domain space. So let's slide into grand closing. We'll do grand closing for about 7 minutes, and then we're going to be done here because we got to shut it down. Ammar's got to get on the road. We've all got other things to do. I'm going to go take a COVID nap. But so we just released a brand new show. Went live today. It's Off the Market Forever. And it features James Isles and Chris Zeiker talking about looking at domains and domain acquisitions, domain sales from an end user standpoint, which I think is going to be really, really cool for folks to get that kind of insight, which we don't, always get. James does a ton of work. He's one of the best, sort of journalistic folks in the space and does a really great job of uncovering and writing about a lot of the different stuff that happens within domain names and movement and things like that. Talks a lot about end user acquisitions of domains and the impact that some of those have for those folks. And Chris, under Drew's wing, really nobody talks to more end user, big dog chief of marketing.
Chris is out from under the wing, I'd say. I mean, he's doing his thing.
I just meant like he came up.
He's doing his thang.
He came up under the wing and is now an entity in his own right. And but big shout out to Chris.
We share around here.
We share around here. A lot of fun doing that first show with those guys. At some point, I'll slide out and let them kind of just do what they do. But there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff happening with that. So definitely check that out if you haven't seen it yet, because that's now live. And there'll be more where that came from. Big shout out to NamesCon. We've got that coming up at the end of August. We've got our, I mentioned it in the pre-intro, which these guys didn't see, but in the intro that goes before the show actually starts, I mentioned that we've got the discount code, MP _ DomainSherpa, I believe is what it is, which is the discount code to get 20% off your ticket for NamesCon. So please make sure you take advantage of that. You don't need to use our link for the discount code. We get no benefit from it, but it would only help save you all money. So unless you can get a better discount, definitely check that out and use that. We've got more of our archive shows on our YouTube page, which you can find at ds.tv. So definitely check that out, ds.tv. So we're excited about all that. We've got, more stuff coming. Got, as we continue, we put a lot of our legacy shows. We're going to start putting the new shows on there as well. And then the last thing, from a bit of housekeeping, we are still sorting out some of the things about the syndication of the podcast out to the different platforms. We've got the Apple podcast piece fixed. Now we're just working on getting Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. That'll be fixed shortly. But in the meantime, you can check us out. Just go to the site itself at DomainSherpa.com. Listen, watch, and all that good stuff. Apple Podcasts, it'll be up on the others shortly. And at some point sooner than later, you'll be able to pretty much catch all of the episodes on the YouTube channel as well. So that's what we got going on with us. Anything else happening for any of y'all? What y'all got before we go?
No, send us some feedback. I legitimately want to do that liquidity show where it's like the Shark Tank of domain buying.
No, we're gonna do it. Domain tank.
I want to get a bunch of
domain
get like 6, 8
Dolphin tank.
of the top buyers, and that would be super fun. That'd be super fun.
We got to come up with a name. We
Domaining great again.
I mean, we could just call it Domain Shark Tank, but that just seems a little like, we can do better. So we got to come up with a name.
That's like super uncreative. That's like COVID brain type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
COVID.
Domain tank.
Domain tank. You know what I'm saying? So we will come up with a name for that, but that's going to be a lot of fun too. So please be on the lookout for that. Gather up your names if you guys want to. We'll try to bring liquidity.
Called life raft. Or
life raft.
What do you call the little ring that you throw them?
The buoy. That's the buoy or the.
Yeah, it's for the lazy lifeguard. He's like, oh look, that kid's drowning. Just throw the donut at him.
Oh, man. I don't hate it. But yeah,
what is that called? What is it called? Life what?
Life preserver.
Well, that's what you put on. That's your life.
Hold on.
Isn't that your life vest? Life.
I thought it was like a buoy or something.
No,
it's not a
buoy is
buoy.
like the bigger thing.
Swim ring.
Life vest is you're talking about the vest.
No.
Not the
No,
vest.
the thing on a rope that has a
I think that's the life
donut.
preserver.
life.
Yeah, I
I think
mean,
it's
what's
life
a
preserver.
swim? It's not a swim ring.
Life preserver ring.
Yeah. See, we're
That's what I
experts
see.
in words.
Yeah, it's
Or
a life
throw
preserver.
ring.
Life
A throw ring.
Life
Throw
ring. I'm seeing it being called
Life
on
ring, throw
Life
ring,
Life
life preserver ring. Look, Walmart has the category called life preserver ring. So
Life
they
buoy.
probably-
See, I said buoy. Just to be clear, I said buoy. And someone's saying other names for life buoy include safety wheel, life belt, water wheelie, ring buoy, life ring, lifesaver, life donut, life preserver, Perry buoy, or kiss bee ring. So just so you know, life buoy.
all right, so it's going to be called domain life preserver.
Hey,
That sounds terrible.
What?
hey,
It's
Billy,
like
you
awful.
can edit out this whole section because
All
none
I'm
of us
saying
look
is
good
on
right now.
Wikipedia, it's called Life Buoy. Is like literally the name of the page that the thing that we're talking about is on. Life Buoy.
How
Anyway,
should anybody have confidence in our advice about domaining
That's what I'm saying.
when we
Yeah, that's why
ramble like complete morons?
we should just cut this talking about like we don't know what words mean and we gotta Google like let's just cut this out. We don't. This is
Yeah,
not
we got to
good
get our
for us.
game up, guys. Come on, put your game faces
Listen,
on.
All right.
we need to all get an agentive.
yes, we all need
Yes.
to be more agentive in how we handle
Yes,
it.
we need to be more agentive.
We need to be more
If we
agentive.
took this section and we put it at the beginning of the show, people be like, I ain't listening to that shit.
I know. It's tough enough to get them to listen as it is. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but once you got them sucked in for an hour, they don't leave.
yeah, then they're like, all right, I'm stuck. I might as well see where this is going to go. Well, you know where it's going to go? Nowhere, because we're at the end of the show. I want to thank everybody. You guys appreciate your time being here, helping me get through what is a difficult time, getting over COVID. And, but this was a lot of fun today. We covered a lot of ground. And I want to say thank you to the audience. You guys know what it is. As I say in every show, without you, there's no us. Please hit us up. We're not hard to find. We will get our shit together on a bunch of these things that we're talking about with this Shark Tank, Life Ring, Life Buoy style show thing that we're going to do.
Doubt it.
I'm super excited about that. In the meantime, we will otherwise be back here when we're back here. You know, if you want to hit us up, we're not hard to find. Please do that. We very much appreciate it. And otherwise, we'll see you next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.